views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
City of Fort Wayne Office of the Mayor Proclamation. Whereas clean water is increasingly scarce, so that by the year 2030, 47% of the world's people will be subjected to severe shortages of clean water. Hi, good afternoon. I'd like to welcome all of you to the program today. A great documentary coming up in a few minutes. 90-minute documentary you see on the screen, Our Thirsty World. And I believe the producer has gone all over the world to find interviews and answers to water, which of course is everybody needs. And corporations try to steal it basically and make you pay, like Nestle's nasty corporations. And that's probably in the movie. The first thing, and this is from Friends of the Third World, so I'm very happy. I'm Terry Doran. I do Three Rivers Art Center for Kids, track, theater for ideas, documentaries, Save Them All Me with Abby, and work with Jim, Friends of the Third World, and Marion. So the first thing we'd like you to do is go back to the jugs back there, and not liquor in them, but water. So we'd like you to take a cup and taste all the water back there. And then after the movie, there'll be a little quiz for you to say, is this city water, is this county water, what kind of water is this? So if you wouldn't mind going and doing that, and while you do that, I'm going to read a proclamation from Mayor Tom Henry, who proclaiming today Water Day. So just go on back. It's not a test. It's not like you're going to flunk or anything, you know. It's just a way of showing how important our water is and how we can take it for granted, really, in many ways. You know, you turn on a faucet and water comes out, and that's all you think about. But there's so much more to it than that. And Abby of Save Them All Me knew nothing about water, I think it's fair to say, when she started Saving Them All Me, and now is, I'd say, almost encyclopedia of water knowledge, but she learned it all the hard way. Test and fail, studying, research, getting knocked down by experts, I suppose. I know that's part of it. So anyway, thank you, welcome, and here's the proclamation. City of Fort Wayne Office of the Mayor Proclamation. Whereas clean water is increasingly scarce, so that by the year 2030, 47% of the world's people will be subjected to severe shortages of clean water. Wow, that's scary. Whereas the City of Fort Wayne, built at the convergence of the St. Mary, St. Joseph, and Maumee rivers, is fortunate to have an abundant supply of this important asset. Whereas the City of Fort Wayne has implemented plans to clean our rivers through stormwater separation projects and business programs for pollution prevention, solid waste reduction, and water conservation. And whereas the City of Fort Wayne has encouraged residents to use rainwater for gardens and landscape, using rain gardens and rain barrels, and is encouraging residents to conserve clean water. Now, therefore, I, Thomas C. Henry, Mayor of the City of Fort Wayne, Indiana, do hereby proclaim October 20th, 2013 as Clean Water Day in Fort Wayne, and encourage all citizens to learn about the current state of clean water and the positive steps we can all take to ensure its availability for many years to come. Now I'll hold this up so we can get a shot of it. Appreciate Bob Hunter taping this for us. This is the proclamation. And these aren't easy to get. Mayor Henry said he doesn't give them out like candy like some mayors, so he obviously thinks this is an important subject, and I'm glad for that, obviously, to have the mayor on our side is great. Most of you probably got this flyer advertising the show. What I found really interesting and terrifying at the same time is this. Indiana has 35,673 miles of rivers, 575 publicly owned lakes, 59 miles of Great Lakes shoreline, and 813,000 acres of freshwater wetlands. Sounds fantastic, right? Now get to the last sentence. Unfortunately, most are polluted. I think that says it all, really. And we will have a discussion after the movie, so please feel free to make any comments, ideas, and for future programs, for how we can conserve water, for what you're doing to conserve water. Jim pointed out you can do it yourself in your home, you can do it in the neighborhood, you can do it throughout the city, throughout the United States with various projects using internet, Facebook, etc., or the entire world, which is really what we need, because if we're going to survive as a species, as a human race, we're all in this together. We're all creatures of this earth. There's not one human being on this planet that can live without water, not one. I don't care how much money you have. So with that, I think we can just, well, I will say this. It takes 1,000 quarts of water to produce a quart of milk. 1,000 quarts. 15 quarts to produce a pound of chicken. 50 quarts to produce a pound of cotton. And 7,500 quarts of water to produce a pound of beef. Learn how much water we each require on a daily basis, then learn how to use less. And as I said, we all take it for granted. I do, until really I met Abby and started learning from her. I just saw water as something you turn on and it comes out, and you either get under it and take a shower or put it in a glass and drink it. And it's not that simple, you know. And look at our rivers. I mean, this spring I worked with Abby on her Save the Maumee annual program, which is Clean Up the Maumee. I don't know, we have video that'll be released sometime before too long. But the amazing thing was all this junk, tires and old stoves, and I mean, you name it. And her volunteers are dragging them out of the river. And that's just one river in one little spot of the river. So certainly one way to start in terms of a local endeavor is you talk to people, you tell them the river is not a garbage dump. The river is a thing of beauty. You know, plus it's life-saving, it's water. But aesthetically, the river throughout our history and culture has been the subject of novels and movies and poetry. Much more even than oceans or lakes, because rivers flow. And there's a life force to them. So with that, let's just see a wonderful movie, 90 minutes long, Our Thirsty World. Thank you all for coming.
I thought that was a little sad. I also wanted you to know that in the United States, I bought $3,000 worth of stock in one of the largest publicly traded water privatized municipalities that you can buy and sell stock for. It's called Aqua America. We have a subsidiary called Aqua Indiana. They sent me they're having their board of directors annual meeting, and since I'm a stakeholder, they requested that all of the stakeholders vote against the human right to water. This is happening in the country. I have told people in Washington, D.C. and others who are concerned about water in the United States And so this is something that is coming very soon. This is not far away and intangible. They are having droughts out in the west part of the country in the United States. And the problem that we have in Fort Wayne is that, well, it's not a problem. We have so much water in the Great Lakes area that we try and shed it as fast as possible. We got to drain the land. We have to get rid of it. And here, in all the rest of the world, they try and hold on to it. Even in when I was in Arizona, they use their wastewater. It basically flows out and feeds their gardens. They're not their food gardens, but all their plants and flowers and everything else. So there's several things that are coming, in my opinion. This, I saw a really good example of how much water is actually available to humans. And it is, here's, so imagine that this piece of paper is all of the world's water. So we have, salt water, the oceans, we're 2/3 water, obviously. So if you take out 10%, that would be all of your water in all of your fresh water. Okay, so this is all salt, saline, unusable. Then we're going to take about, I don't know, 40% in glaciers, unusable water in the trans-evaporation process that's going to go up and be in clouds. So we're going to get rid of that. This is unusable. Ooh, then we have the Great Lakes. So the Great Lakes is, imagine that this is going to be cut into fifths. So 1/5 is the largest freshwater source and coveted in the entire world, and that is the Great Lakes. Here's 1/5. The other one is, the second largest is in Russia. That is the second largest freshwater source in the world. And the rest.
What's happening to these last two?
And so this one would be the Great Lakes for freshwater source.
But why is it peeling off your?
Because I want to show you what the rest of the entire world shares.
Oh, okay.
This is what the entire world shares. So we have the Great Lakes, then you have, the Russian lake, and then the unavailable water, and the rest of the world shares this. This is,
Where's that?
what's that?
Whereabouts is the drinking water?
It's just the fresh drinking. I'm talking about freshwater sources.
Like Amazon?
Freshwater sources would be, freshwater sources like the Great Lakes and the Amazon, and well, even the Amazon it's just a running water source, and I think they have saline that gets in there as well. I think that's one of the.
And it's getting built up. Progress.
Well, they were talking about the Ganges in there too. Then the Ganges is a holy place for the Indians, but they have hogs and other animals that are being washed upstream from these other people that are being, having holy ceremonies. So it's a population issue in some of these other places. But I just felt compelled to get up here. Come here, Kara. Come here, Terry. Yeah.
Did you all do the drinking water test?
Did you tell the difference?
Yes.
I got the answers here.
Okay.
What'd you put for A? Anybody?
Fort Wayne tap water?
Reverse osmosis, Fort Wayne.
Pardon? Fort Wayne?
Reverse osmosis.
Okay. I got you. Anybody else for A? Well, the answer is commercial spring water. So whatever you put for that will be wrong if you didn't put it for A. Okay, B. Anybody? What was B? Anybody?
B was B.
B is B. What answer? Anybody?
Plymouth, Michigan tap water.
Michigan tap water. Gotcha, Plymouth, Michigan. Fort Wayne tap water is the correct answer. All right. Okay, C. Plymouth, Michigan tap water.
So they taste the same,
D. What you have for D?
artesian spring.
Well,
Huntertown well water?
that's correct.
I thought I did that.
Yeah.
All right. Huntertown well water. He got it right. Okay, E.
Reverse osmosis?
That was your answer? Oh my gosh, we got 2 in a row correct. E is reverse osmosis. Well, that leaves F, so there's only one left,
Real
which is,
artesian spring?
that's it, artesian well water. Any comments on the film? And that was Abby King that started leading the discussion from Save Them All Me. As I said, she knows so much about it, about water, from all different aspects.
This is quick, this isn't about the film, but when we were gathering information, we were given a lot of these books, and it's kind of weird because there's no children here, but if you know children or work with any group of children, help yourself take a handful of them home.
Thanks. Any comments on the film? I heard one about the photography. It was breathtakingly beautiful. I believe it should win every award there is. And I would like to know where he got his budget, because he went to, what, 20 countries? He had film crews in every country. That was, and shot in film. So, but the main thing is the message, which ended with a powerful message, which, as he said, he never wants to read again. And I think that's the point of this discussion today. 4,000 kids a day, it makes you cry. I mean, you can't even wrap your brain around it. I can't. 4,000. I mean, when I saw 4,000, I thought he was going to say a year, at least maybe a month. No, a day, from just crappy water, which we could fix. I mean, water that is not fit to drink, or have no water. You know, some of the scenes were so heartbreaking. I mean, those people out in that river, and then you bring water. No, I drink the water here. I have no choice. Or that lady, I have no choice. You know, and they have to walk, what? Blocks, mile maybe, to get the water even, water that's crappy, that she didn't know from day to day. Is this going to kill me? Is this going to kill my children? It's just unbelievable to have to live that way. Or the people that, you know, as he dedicated the film to. You saw people in that film that were not alive within days after he shot that film. And it shows his sensitivity that he dedicated it to them. Or that young man saying, I've killed many people. And as I sit here now talking to you, I fear for my life. I mean, imagine living that way. And then not knowing if the water you're going to drink is going to kill you or make you sick. There's so many aspects, you know, and some of the cures, like dams, create more problems, not fix them. Anyway, Patty?
I was going to say, in Arizona, they are deliberately making the people who live there to have it just the natural vegetation, not have them bring in foreign plants, so they can be able to save the water. And we can do that all over the world, you know, not force people into a certain area like the Native Americans, you know, and they don't have much water as well. They don't have much of a life. So, you know, we have to be like, we're one world. We have to be one with each other and help each other out. Otherwise, we're nothing.
In the end, when they had those rice paddies, did they actually say there was a way to grow rice without having it in water? and that everybody was flocking to that. I mean, I've never grown rice, but you've seen it all your life, all these water flooded terraces, and then they're just gonna not use the water, and it's gonna get more rice. I mean, that's amazing.
It is amazing, and you know, the film was full of heroes.
It's called education. We need
Education. The man, I forget his name, but the man that's drilled thousands of wells.
Somebody named Rosso. I think his last name is Rosso.
I mean, look at the appreciation to people. And would they rather had water or have him dump gold? Gold's worthless to them. Water. I mean, that's the lesson, and the things we take for granted. You know, it's just dumbfounding to me. I mean, it made me feel so humble and almost selfish. You know, and when I think, oh, somebody has so much more, you know, we have so much more than those people. But if we don't guard it, if we don't work, if we don't clean out the Maumee, if we don't start right here, there will come a time when we won't have it either. You know, water is not something that you can just take for granted forever.
There is a limit.
And, you know, I've been to places, and probably you have too, in the United States. Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, South Dakota, for example, that rivals some of the scenes in this film. So we're not immune to it, even here in the United States. And the United States uses way more than our share of resources in the world. And anyway, anybody else? Marion?
1974, Bread for the World started, and one of the things they said is eat less meat, because if you use this much resources to grow cereal, it takes 4 times as much to grow beef.
Yeah.
And we've gotten away from that. I mean, you'd go to any type of liberal conference, and it would always be vegetarian, and now we're just eating meat all the time, and
Not healthy.
we don't need to. You know, I applaud those who don't, but I eat meat, you know, so. But it's wasteful of water and resources, and it's not good for you, so. And Bread for the World knew that in 1974.
Yeah, I mean, that alone probably, turning the world into vegetarians would be a powerful step forward.
Or at least if you're having pigs like in that one, you know, use the manure for biogas for heat or whatever.
In my bioanthropology class, they had the largest humans ever grown, like the largest humans
Okay.
were the Native Americans, and it was because they had the perfect diet. It was most squash, rice, beans, and with a substitute of meat. So when they would go out and bring back an animal, then they would all eat that day. It wasn't 3 times a day, 4 ounces 3 times a day. It was, you know, you got a hunk of
It was
meat
balanced.
every time there was a.
Balance. We're out of that.
So those are the largest grown humans.
And
I have
then,
respect.
you know, when you, like the scene there where the village that would coveted their cattle, I mean, because they were their life source. But then you think about it, all those cattle have to drink. They have to have water. They don't have water, the people die. So it's complicated. But another key point of the film was talking about the will. That's where it is. Do we have the will as a human race to share, really, with each other and solve problems that are solvable today? But if we don't keep moving with some of the solutions he showed in the film, it'll be too late. You know, as Patty said, we're one family on this earth, the human family, and we're all dependent, and we're dependent on animals for a lot of different things. But as we said earlier, not one human being, not one animal, not one plant can live without water, period. Period. You know, you can have billions in the bank. You don't have water to drink, it won't do you one bit of good. And that's like, that was such a powerful part of the film, is seeing those people cheer him. Just cheer, dance, I mean with joy. They were gonna have clean water that they knew would not hurt them or even kill them. That was just stunning to me, really. I just felt like dancing myself, you know. I was so happy for those people and so unhappy for the ones that were drinking crappy water right in front of us, right in that movie. Who knows what happened to them an hour later even, after the filmmaker left. Anyway, any other comments or questions or ideas? Yes.
I met with a gentleman named Matt Jones from the Allen County Partnership for Water Quality on Friday. I tried to meet with him all week long, and because of the government shutdown, their office was closed and they weren't working in their normal locations, and they weren't near any of their normal phone numbers. I was fortunate enough to be able to have lunch with him on Friday. He wanted to attend to speak at this event, but his superiors wouldn't pay him for the time to come and do that. He'd have to do it on his own time. He even had to meet with me on his own time. That's why we had a lunch meeting. And I wanted to share with you the one point that he reiterated more than anything else in our discussion, and that is that don't forget that where you put your waste becomes the problem of the people downstream from us, and where the people upstream put their waste becomes our problem. So this is not just a problem that we have to consider as our community problem. This is a national, at the very least a national issue, if not global.
And corporations,
Oh my God.
don't get it started. Okay.
Well, no, really. I mean, and that point was made in the film.
Yeah.
Corporations have so little interest in the common good, so little interest, maybe no interest, frankly, in those people. You know, that one of them, a tannery, ruined their water. What do those people sit there and think, you know, if we dump this crap into their water supply, they're going to die. Oh, well, we'll make money. I mean, that's basically what they said. They put profit continually ahead of people. And profit that, if you're talking about making $1 million and they make $1 billion, they still could make profit and still do decent things. It's appalling. Yes.
I was going to say, and corporations also have great power.
Yes.
And for those of you that do investing, I'm sure probably everybody in this room knows this, but for the sake of anyone that might not, but there is a way of investing called something like corporate social responsibility investing. There are organizations that even pool people's smaller investments together, so that then they do screening of the corporations. They screen out those that would be doing dastardly things to humankind, and then the ones that they do choose to invest in, they take an active part. You probably know this. You can go as a shareholder and give a paper, so that I think that influencing corporations is a part of this. It's a very important part. And I used to think, just kind of get overwhelmed by it. But there are these ways where, as we say, money speaks, and even small amounts of money pooled.
Absolutely, and it reminds me every action has a consequence.
Yes.
So you can think you're doing really good things, and then you invest in ExxonMobil, or to name one corporation, you can fill in the blank with about 100 of them, and you're undoing what good you do. And that's a fairly simple act. I mean, you can still make investments financially sound and not support these really bad corporations. Abby.
There's several local heroes too. In Indiana, they have a program that goes to other countries to, they do reverse osmosis with simplistic pipes and charcoal and back filtration, and it's called Blue Dots in Water. That man is a hero. He's from Indiana. To speak
Thank you.
So, I just wanted,
No, and
we all live downstream.
there's, what did you say, 21
21
cities?
cities dump into the Maumee, or dump into St. Joe before we drink it. 21 cities.
Oh my, so Fort Wayne, no matter what Fort Wayne does, you're still at the mercy of 21 other cities. If they're putting pollution into the water,
And then
wow.
she was talking about meat production and how it's directly related to water, and it is because there was a 11,000 count E. coli count. Now, if you want to swim in water, it's usually around 235 E. coli count. That's how many little bacteria will grow on a petri dish. This one had 11,000, so they were going to do more testing and see where this manure poop was coming from. And I said, how can you tell where it's coming from? Because they were going to tell if it was human, pig, dairy cow, slaughter cow, etc. I said, how can you tell? And they said, we test for the drugs in the manure. So it's not just, it's the drugs. They're testing for the drugs in the E. coli.
Antibiotics and-
That is insane. Between 70 and 80% of all antibiotics used in the United States go to animals.
And growth hormones to get the
Right.
animals bigger.
And right now, there's a big study out that they're starting, that they're wondering why puberty onset is starting at a younger age, and it is because of what they're feeding the meat, in my opinion.
Chickens.
Well,
You know,
again, it's like
we
the
had another
investment. I mean, you don't think about it. You eat something, you think, well, but that's a means to an end. That's causing bodily changes. So there's so many different things, and it's hard to keep track of. But yes, Marion.
Yeah, I was gonna follow up, Sister Rita said she had to go, they're going to the immigration thing, which is right after this. She will give me the information about which corporations we
Great.
should support and which ones she won't, and, I'm gonna put Caitlin on the spot, Caitlin will put it on our website. She's our new IPFW, work study student. And then the Blue Dot thing, Abby,
Blue Dot's
you-
a-
yeah,
Blue
give that
Dot
to
in
Caitlin
water,
too,
Blue
she'll put
Dot's
that
in
on our
water.
website.
He's great.
I would like to just pass along one other piece of information I got from Matt Jones, because I think it's kind of alarming. Now, many of you probably heard the news story that came out within the last year that drugs are now appearing in the drinking water that the water filtration plants are not able to remove. Well, Mr. Jones told me that now they have detected chemicals that are actually being picked up in the rain and are in the rain now. So
Acid
you're
rain.
actually getting drugs and chemicals in the water that are
Fluoride.
being evaporated up and coming back down in the rain on us.
And then think what that does to plants, to crops. I mean, it's raining pollution on them. Anybody else? Really good points, discussions. The other thing about the film and ending is, I mentioned the man drilling the wells, and there's the woman that just came right out and said it. We gotta talk about shit, And we use polite words, waste, but we don't like to think about that, but in one form or another, it has to be dealt with. And if you don't have the equipment and the sanitation devices, that kills you. So there's so many things, but the other point is there were individuals, and the lady he said was a world-renowned activist. So individuals like Abby and a lot of you in this room make a difference. But the overpowering message in that film was community. The people working together, those villagers. That's why I have always been drawn, I've traveled a lot, to people that are poor. Because maybe they're not any different than rich people, except that they're poor, which is a big difference, of course. But I mean, they have to stick together. They have no choice to survive. But yet, they're an inspiration to us. Those people were poor, and a lot of them were smiling even. is, you know, like I love that scene where that little boy slipped when he's getting a drink and the other kids laugh. It was so human. And you think they have nothing, and yet that was a human moment that anybody could share. And it's those kind of moments, you know, that bond us all together. So I think everybody here is a hero. Jim and Marion, 41 years of Friends of Third World. I think they deserve an applause. They have done
So you left yourself open for that one, Terry. Don't applaud, just throw money.
all right. Well, if you don't have anything else, thank you very much for coming, for your wonderful commentary, and let's hope we can all learn something and make a little difference at least. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you, Terry.